You should not tell your engineers what to do. You should empower them to take action. Focus on business value. It's really important. It makes the conversation a lot easier, a lot more mature. But don't forget to optimize costs, because at the end of the day, you'll be asked about, hey, how much you helped us save in the last year. Welcome to FinOps in Action. I'm your host, Alon Arvatz. Each week, I'll sit down with FinOps experts to explore the toughest challenges between FinOps and engineering. This show is brought to you by Point 5, empowering teams to optimize cloud costs with deep detection and remediation tools that drive action. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of FinOps in Action. Only that today, it's not just another episode, it's a very special one. Hanukkah just ended, Christmas is ahead of us, the New Year is just around the corner, and that's the time to summarize 2025 that is approaching to its end. And what I would love to do today is to share with you my key insights from 2025. So after talking to dozens of FinOps experts and FinOps leaders from around the world and across multiple verticals, I want to share with you the top insights they shared with me, the ones that were repeated the most, and the ones that are probably the most valuable to be a very, very successful FinOps person and have an extremely successful FinOps practice. So let's get to it. Number one, you should not tell your engineers what to do. You should empower them to take action. So obviously, as FinOps people, we're always under a lot of stress to save money, to optimize costs. When it comes to commitments, it's easy. We can just do it. We don't need anyone's approval. We don't need anyone to go through. When it comes to optimize the infrastructure, identifying and removing waste, that's when it becomes more complicated, because that's exactly the point where you need your engineers to get involved and take action. Now, sometimes this stress causes us to tell engineers, hey, look what happens here. Look what you did here. Go ahead and fix it. But that's a mistake. You should not do that. If you do that, engineers will become defensive and won't collaborate. Reality that 99% of the times the engineers know better what type of infrastructure they need. They know better the application. So they're in the best position to decide what needs to be done. So what is your role as a FinOps person? Your role is to present to them the data. Tell them, hey, look, I identified this pattern. Why don't we look together and see if there's anything to do here to become more optimized, more efficient? Hey, look at this account, look at this resource, look at this deployment. I identified that. What do you think? Can we do something about it? When you present the data, when you open it for a discussion, then engineers open up to engage, take action, find the best solution, and eventually solve it. One of the greatest insights I got on the podcast this year was actually from Mike Rosenberg, who told me, don't only show them the recommendations, but also explain to them why it will help them improve their career and their skills. Because now they're not only understanding how to develop applications, on how to run infrastructure, but also how to optimize costs. So you should present it to them as career development. And that's exactly what Mike does today at Nubank. Number two, a lot of people or a lot of FinOps people, they get into organization and they start working with engineers to try and drive optimization. And they try to build it bottom up. Start with engineers, get them engaged, and then go to executive and show them the results. That's a mistake. Almost every FinOps leader I talked to this year told me, no, it has to be the other way around. It has to be top down. You have to start with executive buy-in. You need that the CTO or CIO, or at least the COO, will be on board and will make sure that engineers carve time to drive optimizations. Otherwise, it goes nowhere. I had this conversation with Prashant and Paulie from Cisco, and that's exactly what they stressed out. When they started their FinOps practice, they start with executive buy-in to make sure that things can be driven forward from the executive team down to the engineering teams. I even had this amazing recommendation from Eric Norman, who now leads FinOps at British Airlines, who told me, hey, you shouldn't take a FinOps job unless you know there is a buy-in of the executive team. So that's a bit of an extreme recommendation, I would say, but it still stresses the importance of a top-down approach to FinOps. Number 3, you're not only FinOps people, you're also sales and marketing people, which means FinOps is still a very, very early practice. Not all engineers, not all organizations are aware of FinOps. Some of them don't even know what is FinOps. So your job is also to drive awareness and make it something that is important within the organization. So it means you have to be a good salesperson. So Tammy Burnett from UiPath, for example, she shared with me that, hey, I'm a salesperson. I'm working to the organization. My job is to explain, convince why it's important. Obviously, when you're a salesperson, it's also extremely important to develop relationships, which is also something that many FinOps practitioners share with me. You have to build relationship to make sure people understand the importance and listen to what you have to say over time. I think the most extreme insight I got was from Sridhar Ayla from Adobe, who told me, hey, I'm running a marketing campaign to drive awareness and drive optimization. So I give them a tagline such as, this year is going to be 26 under 26, which means we're going to have 26% of our workloads with less than 26% underutilization rate. So he gave it a name, and he started a whole campaign with education and training and projects and hackathons. So it's really not only doing FinOps proper, but also championing FinOps across the organization and literally being a sales and marketing person. I would even say you need to read sales and marketing books to understand how to do it better. Last, and definitely not least, probably the insight I heard the most in the past year. And although I have some caveats on it, which I will share, I think it is an extremely important one. And it is about what FinOps is all about. And the fact that FinOps is not only about cost savings, but it's also about business value. So a lot of organizations, when they start their FinOps practice, it comes from a place of, hey, I need to reduce cost. I need to save money. I need to spend less on cloud because it's so expensive. That's most of the cases. And then FinOps is starting as a practice that is all around saving money. But the reality is that no matter what you do, no matter how much you're going to save, cloud is going to stay very, very expensive. And people will always ask, oh my God, we're spending so much. What are we getting out of it? And that is where the FinOps person need to get in and explain to the organization not only how much they spend or how much they save, but also what is the value they're getting out of their cloud investment. So it came to a point where people like Adnan from S&P, for example, share with me that they share with their executive team exactly what they're getting out of their increased spend. So sometimes when the spend increases, it's actually positive. It means that you have more business. It means that you're getting more value out of your cloud infrastructure. And that's your job as a FinOps person to make this value transparent and communicate it to the broader engineering and executive team. Now, I have to say, I absolutely agree with this insight, but it's also important not to forget cost optimization, because probably no matter how much you'll talk about business value and how much your executive and organization will be bought in to talking about business value versus cost savings, probably in the end of the year, your manager or his manager's manager will ask, okay, how much we saved on cloud, how much we optimized, and you better have a good answer. So focus on business value. It's really important. It makes the conversation a lot easier, a lot more mature, but don't forget to optimize costs, because at the end of the day, you will be asked about, hey, how much you helped us save in the last year. So these were the 4 most frequently shared insights and recommendations that I got this year, and I'm sure all of you can benefit from. I hope you enjoyed the podcast in 2025. We have a lot of amazing new guests and great plans for 2026 as well. So keep following our podcast. And as always, share with your friends about how much value you're getting out of the podcast, and hope to see you next week. That wraps up another episode of FinOps in Action. Thank you for joining. For show notes and more, please visit finopsinaction.com. This show is brought to you by Point5, empowering teams to optimize cloud costs with tip detection and remediation tools that drive action.